Welcome to the Celtics Roundtable, powered by CLNS Media. I'm Jonathan Levy. I'm joined by Matthew Ignall, Lucky Swipe, and that CZ in the round globe there, that green globe. That's Cole Zwicker. He's joining us via the Celebrity Hotline. We are going to get into Summer League because summer's here and the time is right. And, you know, free agency is already breaking our hearts at least a little bit. Still praying on some Gordon Hayward. We'll see how that ends up working out. But we got a lot to talk about because we got the number 3 overall pick in tow. We got last year's number 3 overall pick, in tow as well. They're going to be playing the Summer League. So is Zizic. So is a bunch of other guys. Let's focus in, though, on Jayson Tatum. He's the guy we know the least about. And, man, I think people all over Celtics land are interested in what does this guy really bring to the table? What should we be looking for specifically in Summer League? Cole, what do you got for us?
Well, I think one thing that's going to stand out is he's so skilled and advanced as a scorer, and that's going to stand out in a summer league setting where a lot of these guys don't have the ball skills to really fluidly operate in this setting, and Tatum definitely does. I think he's going to be able to score the ball in summer league depending on what position he plays, especially he's going to play some forward likely, get some mismatch opportunities there in his face-up game. You'll just notice how polished he is. His footwork is tremendous for a player his age. He can get to his fadeaway step back pretty much at will. We'll see how he shoots the ball from 3. I think that's going to be a key going forward. How well can he play in a team construct? I know Celtics, like, social media was freaking out when he hit like 10 threes in a row the other day. It's like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. He wasn't even shooting like his regular shot. It was like more of a push 2-motion shot that didn't look anything like his in-game shot. But overall, I think you're going to see a really polished scorer. He's going to put up numbers in summer league. We'll see how he looks athletically. That's really what I'm most interested in, is how he fits in as far as does he stand out with his athletic, because like that was one minus with him. He's not like a great explosive athlete. So we'll see how he looks in that setting. But yeah, he's going to put up points. He's going to defend probably at a reasonable level. And he should be one of the standouts there for sure.
So Cole, you know, last time we had you on, you talked about how Jayson Tatum, you thought that like his like overall outcome like was perhaps highly varied, that he may have had like, you know, higher ceiling than, you know, perhaps the other wings, maybe a little bit of a lower floor because he's a scorer, and how well he scores depends on how efficient he's going to become, and that might depend on how well his 3-point shot comes out. So I don't know. I wonder if you could like talk a little bit about what Jayson Tatum could become in the long run. Like, what do you think his ceiling is? What do you think the Celtics really saw in him that made them like him so much?
Well, I think they saw a primary wing scorer, or at least the tools to become that, maybe in like a poor man's Carmelo Anthony mold, that kind of player who you can run an offense, maybe not through in this today's NBA, because nobody really runs the ball through the mid-post anymore creation-wise, but just someone who can definitely get baskets when you need them. I know Danny Ainge talks a lot about fourth quarter scoring and the ability to generate offense, and at his ceiling outcome, Tatum will be efficient at doing that. It depends, honestly, like you said, on degree of his efficiency shooting the ball. He's not as fluid with the ball as Carmelo wasn't in college. If you watch Carmelo shoot, one motion release, every time he shot, you thought it was going in. That's not really Tatum's jumper. He's a bit more stiff. He's got that 2-motion shot that doesn't look super aesthetically pleasing, but he does have some promising indicators that suggest that he will be able to shoot the ball well, like his free throw percentage. So it's going to be for him, how well can he score the ball, because that is his main utility. He does have good ancillary skills as far as he can pass on the move a little bit. He defends reasonably well. I'm not sure if he's going to be a plus defender or even an average defender in the NBA, but I think you can pretty safely chalk up non-liability, and that's valuable, especially if he can play the 4. We'll see how well he can hold up on the glass. That's going to be the key again for me, is like, how much 4 can he play? Because I think that's what separates him from a guy like Josh Jackson, who doesn't have the frame to do that. Tatum has that more established upper body. Just the question of, can he anchor with his lower body? Because he's going to kill like some immobile 4s in the NBA off his face-up game. They can't stick with that kind of shake with the ball. So that's going to be something to look for as well.
One of the things I'm aware of is, as I've watched many, many years of Summer League now, is it seems like guys dominate the Summer League and then don't really show up anywhere else. Terry Rozier comes to mind. Marcus Smart 2 years ago comes to mind. Kelly Olynyk 3 years ago comes to mind. What does it really mean to do well in Summer League or not do well in Summer League, do you think?
I think as the adage goes, Summer League determines who can't play more than who can play. If you aren't doing anything in Summer League, like Dante Exum is going to be, I think his 4th season this year, he's going to actually play in Utah Summer League. If he can't do anything in his 4th year, you can pretty much write him off, because you have to be able to perform. Like the good players, even Jaylen Brown last year excelled just because he was so much more athletic than everybody else. Like he would just get to the basket still, even though you didn't see a ton of skill there. It was just basically blow-bys and maybe some spin moves. So if you should be concerned if a guy is is a total no-show, especially as a higher profile guy, because that's a red flag worthy. But overall, I think that the takeaway is if you don't show anything, that's kind of what Summer League shows is if you can't play there, you're probably not going to be able to play in the pros. And if you can play in Summer League, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to translate.
Oof, so we're just looking to see who sucks, basically. That's what we're looking for. Okay, good.
Pretty much.
I mean, there's always like, the Damian Lillard who just like comes out and you're like watching him in Summer League. You're like, whoa, this guy is actually really, really good. And I mean, that was extremely apparent to me. I've been trying to watch a little bit more Jayson Tatum footage. I think a couple things that really sold the Celtics. I think they really like his personality. I think they really like that he's willing to put in the work. But then again, it seems like of all these top prospects, most of them are really hard workers. So I don't know how much I can totally buy into that. But I also like the idea, just how like comfortable he looks shooting off the dribble. And this is something that when we had Sam Vecini on a week or two ago, he pointed this out to me. And I'm thinking back to like the Virginia game that Tatum had, like where he was, those were mostly off the dribble threes. And I know that you're a little bit down on his shooting form, Cole. We saw like some evidence in the Drew Hanlon video this summer that he was like working to change it a little bit. Do you really think that like he needs an overhaul?
I think that he can have success. What he has is strength, and for two motion shooters, usually those guys like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, those guys are two motion guys, and they're strong enough to get that shot up from distance, and that's what you look for. I'm much more bearish on a guy like De'Aaron Fox because he's a two motion, he's not very strong. So I have issues about that translating to NBA range. I think Tatum will be able to shoot NBA threes. He'll be able to get the ball there just because he has such great upper body strength that when he releases it, it's got a good trajectory enough to where it's going to make it there a good amount of the time. It's just, if you're talking about the difference between good and great, a lot of that's fluidity, and I just don't see that with Tatum if you're comparing him to guys. I mean, I'm not comparing him outright to guys like Kevin Durant, but watch Durant shoot the ball, watch Carmelo shoot the ball, those primary scorers, Paul George, those guys are all really, really fluid shooting off the dribble. And you're right. I think Tatum showed enough there in college to say, yeah, I think he can get there in time. He has kind of the instincts. He has the skill level to create separation. It's just how well is he going to shoot there is the question for me. And that's hard to answer because questions on degree, I think you can determine what skills a player has and what skills a player doesn't have. But projecting how much a player improves on some skills is a lot harder.
So one of the themes that we've heard, like in Tatum discussions, is that he was injured at the start of the year, and then he got better as he went along, and he really played well in the ACC tournament. I mean, in your opinion, Cole, is that like more signal or noise here? Is there something real there that's like projectable, or are we just reading too much into things? What do you see?
No, I think he improved as the season went on. I think that was more comfortability, just getting, he was injured a little bit, getting his legs back under him. He did have some really, that the Virginia game you mentioned. He did a couple games where he just shot the living hell out of the ball that kind of benefited his percentages. But yeah, he did shoot better from three as the season went on. So yeah, I think that's a testament more just to getting his legs back under him and getting more back in the playing form and stuff like that. So that's how I'd read it.
Guys, Jayson Tatum may have improved as the season went on, but someone who doesn't need to improve is the people at HelloFresh. That's right. They bring it every single night, guys. They're the meal kit delivery service that makes cooking more fun so you can focus on the whole experience, not just the final plate. Each week, HelloFresh creates new delicious recipes with step-by-step instructions designed to take around 30 minutes so that everyone from novices to seasoned home cooks short on time can make tasty meals. HelloFresh sources the freshest ingredients measured to the exact quantities needed so there's no food waste, and employ two, not one, not three, but two, because two is the right number, full-time registered dietitians on staff who review each recipe to ensure that it is nutritionally balanced. They deliver food to your doorstep in a recyclable insulated box for free. And they are now offering light spring meals, hopefully summer meals as well, and have just introduced breakfast options because who doesn't like a little French toast? Now, the loyal listeners of the CLNS Media and viewers, of course, get a special offer. Because you are checking this out, use the promo code BEAT30, that's BEAT 30, for $30 off your first week of HelloFresh. Support the Celtics Roundtable and try HelloFresh for free by visiting HelloFresh.com and entering the promo code BEAT30. All right, back to the Roundtable. Lucky, you've been sitting there. You've been taking all this in. What are your thoughts on Jayson Tatum and Summer League, man?
A couple of things I'm going to look for in Summer League are jab steps, jab steps, jab steps. I need those jab steps. I need him scoring off those jab steps. And no, but for real, like I actually like the balance. Like he gets other people off balance with the jab steps, and he has a little bit of explosion. I went back and I watched the North Carolina games, and he really changed the tempo a couple of times. They were down, and he has a lot of savvy and he can get fouls. Like his foul rate, I felt like is pretty good, and that's something that traditionally the Celtics don't do a lot of. Jaylen did because he just like he's so fast with his first step and he can get into the paint.
He's reckless.
He's reckless. So yeah, like 20 points off jab steps. That's all I'm looking for.
What did you tweet at? It's like you're ready to shed your tape dog pessimism, like a crusty snake something like that. Yeah,
just gonna get out of it.
Yeah, let's switch to Jaylen Brown here. Cole, I don't know how much Celtics you saw over the first year, but how did your opinion of Jaylen Brown, I guess, change from when you were scouting him at Cal?
Well, I just think in general he was a disaster at Cal as far as the decision making, all that stuff. Defensively, you saw the upside physically as far as he can definitely slide. He's quick laterally. He's just a great athlete. He didn't show a ton of off-ball defense at Cal. It grew apparent to me watching him during the season. I mean, obviously Brad Stevens is an incredible coach, so developmentally I saw a lot more defensively from Jaylen than I thought I would. But it's not unreasonable to expect, given that culture and his surrounding environment with guys like Jay Crowder, Marcus Smart, those guys are going to rub off on him. And I think that's a great thing for him, especially because I'm not sure if I see star upside with him. A lot of guys during the playoffs are like, oh, he's going to be a star. But he definitely looked like he belonged. And that's important for a rookie because not a lot of rookies can play in the second round of the playoffs and look like they are part of a rotation competently. So for me, I was more impressed with him than I thought I would be. He looked better defensively. He did some things athletically. Like most of the time, he was beating like Kyle Korver types and stuff like that with the ball. But like you can't really read too much into that. But he's still doing it, and he's still a rookie. So he's got a promising future, I think. Maybe as like a legitimate starter or a quality starter. We'll see how high the ceiling goes for him. A lot of that's going to depend, of course, on the shooting prowess from three. And his shot it's not terrible. I mean, like form-wise, it's okay. I think it's passable. So. Yeah, my opinion on him definitely heightened. I think he's going to be a good player, but I think a lot of that's just situation. Like right when he was drafted by the Celtics, I was like, yeah, he's going to be better than I thought he was just because of the situation, and that kind of materialized already.
Is there anything in particular we should be watching for skill development-wise in the summer league for him? Because he's going to be up against, weaker defenders for sure. So he can be working on things. So are there things we should be really hoping to see out of him?
Maybe passing on the move and some advanced dribbling. He's going to be athletic enough, like you said, to blow by a lot of guys. But just the decision-making he does in exhibits. That was his big bugaboo at Cal, in my opinion, was the turnovers. The decision-making in traffic was not always there. So if he makes any kind of progress as a passer on the move, I think that's something to definitely look for.
For me, he had a lot more, I guess. It felt like he should have had like more transition opportunities or more transition success with the Celtics. I thought we saw a lot of more like advanced dribble moves, I want to say, even at Cal than we did on the Celtics, where he seemed to turn the ball over every single time when he was on the fast break and had a couple defenders ahead of him. So I wonder if he can gain some of that magic back, because to me, I think that really like raises his ceiling. I feel like his motor's okay. His feel is not great. I'm sort of with Cole here. I think passing on the move and being able to put the ball on the floor and do something with it. I think we're all kind of going to be watching for that.
I'm looking for some huge jams, guys. I don't know about you. Monster jams.
Yam City, dude. Like I'm looking for his handle to tighten up, because like if his dribble can like unleash his athleticism, I think you're gonna get. And then his 3-point shot is enough where they'll actually cover him, and then he can like fake people out and get to the hoop. I think that will be a big stepping stone. So if we can see it in the summer league, that would be great. But I'm already watching it on the YouTube series he's doing. I think it's like Hold the Sweat, Make Diamonds, something like that. Shout out Jaylen Brown. Watch it. It's dope.
So Cole, I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum on the floor together during summer league. And maybe one of the reasons the Celtics picked Jayson Tatum over Josh Jackson is his fit next to Jaylen Brown. How do you like that? Do you see any ability of them to like work off one another?
I think they complement each other pretty well. Brown's definitely a better athlete, and defensively you see him guarding quicker forwards, quicker guards in superior fashion than Tatum, who doesn't really have the hip flexibility to sink that low and move that quickly. His reactionary athleticism isn't as great. And offensively, like you guys have touched on, Tatum is much more polished as far as like in triple threat, his jab step game, his ability to create space and like a go-to scoring role depending on the efficiency is ahead of Brown's. But I mean, I think they can play off each other if you think that they both can shoot. That's the key, right? Can both of them shoot threes? That's going to be kind of the key going forward, because the off-ball players in this league, most all of them have to be, good shooters. I mean, there's very few exceptions if you're good enough on defense to warrant that trade-off. But Yeah, they can both pass a little bit, respectably enough to where you can see them being involved in a team construct, especially under Stevens' system. I think that'll be fine. So it's going to come down to three-point shooting.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching and listening to the Celtics Roundtable. If you like this show, which of course you did, how could you not listen to that level of analysis we got going on here? Hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so you can get updates right away whenever we have a new show coming out. If you're listening to us on the podcast, subscribe to the Boston Celtics news feed. On Twitter, we're at CLNS Roundtable, so check us out there. If you do like the show, especially the podcast version, get on iTunes, give us a review. We like 5 stars. We'll take it. We're going to be back probably tomorrow with more analysis from Cole and the boys here, looking at the other players in the Summer League. So we'll see you then.